In the journey of life, we are often taught a simple equation: hard work equals success. We grow up believing that if we just keep our heads down, put in the hours, and sacrifice our comfort, the world will eventually reward us. But have you ever paused to consider that perhaps, just perhaps, hard work alone is not enough? Have you ever felt that despite giving your everything, you remain invisible? You also need to work with wisdom. Imagine a street lamp that stays lit all the time, day and night. At first, it is useful, but eventually, no one notices it anymore. It becomes part of the background. But when it suddenly goes out in the middle of a dark night, everyone pays attention. We are the same. If we cannot make others realize our presence and contribution in the right way, then one day someone else may replace us, thinking we are unnecessary. Let's dive deep into a story that teaches us this crucial lesson about balance. Once upon a time, in a bustling industrial town, there was a young worker named Elias who worked in a massive textile factory. Elias was the kind of employee every boss dreams of. He arrived early, left late, and never complained. His mentor was an elderly craftsman named Thomas, a man with silver hair and hands rough from decades of labor. Thomas saw the potential in Elias and took him under his wing. One rainy afternoon, Thomas sat Elias down and shared what he believed was the secret to survival. He said, "Listen to me carefully, son. Learn to work with full focus. Don't waste time chattering with the others. Keep your head down, master every machine, understand every gear, and make yourself the best at everything in this factory. Become so skilled that no one can replace you." Elias took this advice to heart, treating it like a sacred commandment. Time flew by, as it often does when you are buried in work. 10 years passed. The elderly craftsman, Thomas, eventually retired, leaving his legacy in Elias's hands. The young man, now not so young anymore, took his mentor's place as the lead technician. Following Thomas's path, he kept working with relentless dedication. He knew the hum of every machine, the rhythm of the production line. If a bolt was loose, he knew it before it fell. But as the years rolled on, a heavy shadow began to grow in his heart. While he was the backbone of the factory, he remained in the shadows. He saw colleagues who arrived late, who took long lunch breaks, and who knew half as much as he did, climbing the ladder of success. They were getting promotions, bonuses, and recognition, while Elias remained exactly where he was, indispensable yet invisible. The frustration eventually became too much to bear. One weekend, Elias decided to visit his old teacher, Thomas. He found the old man sitting on his porch, watching the sunset. Thomas saw his student approaching, his shoulders slumped and his face clouded with gloom. "What happened to you, Elias?" Thomas asked gently. "You look like you carry the weight of the world." Elias sighed, a deep, weary sound. "I have followed every word you told me, Thomas. I work with full focus. I stay quiet. I solve problems before they happen. I know no one in the factory is as skilled as me. I have made myself fully competent in everything." He paused, his voice trembling with suppressed anger. "But one thing I can't understand. Those who don't even have half of my skills have been promoted. They drive better cars, they have bigger offices, yet my salary is still as low as it was when I was your assistant. Why has my hard work betrayed me?" The elderly craftsman listened patiently, nodding slowly. He looked Elias in the eye and asked a simple question. "Do you truly believe you have become very important to this factory? Are you absolutely certain that without you, things would fall apart?" The young man firmly nodded. "Yes, I am the only one who knows how to calibrate the main loom. I am the only one who knows the filing system for the archives. Without me, production would stop in an hour." Thomas thought for a while, stroking his chin. "Then do one thing," he said. "Take a day off tomorrow. Find some excuse. Say you are sick. Say you have an emergency. Just don't go in. You need a little rest, and perhaps the factory needs to feel your absence." Elias was surprised. He had never taken a day off in 10 years. The idea felt wrong, almost rebellious, but he trusted his mentor. and he found the advice strangely reasonable. He thanked Thomas and, with a beating heart, called his manager to say he wouldn't be coming in. The next day, Elias stayed home. He slept in. He read a book. For the first time, he felt the sun on his face during a weekday. Meanwhile, at the factory, chaos ensued. The main loom jammed, and no one knew the specific twist of the wrench needed to fix it. The archives were a maze that no one else could navigate. Shipments were delayed. The manager ran around in a panic, realizing for the first time just how much silent work Elias did every single day. When Elias returned to work the next day, the atmosphere had changed. His manager called him to the office immediately. Elias expected a reprimand, but instead, the manager looked relieved, almost desperate. He said, "Elias, because you were absent, the factory faced many problems yesterday. The tasks you usually handle so easily could not be solved properly by anyone else. We didn't realize how much we rely on you." Realizing his importance, the manager didn't just thank him. He promoted Elias to senior chief technician on the spot, with a significant raise, and encouraged him to continue working with the same dedication. Elias left the office beaming. He was grateful for his mentor's wisdom. He felt he had finally discovered the real secret of success. Value must be felt to be appreciated. But here is where the story takes a turn. Elias, emboldened by this success, began to apply this secret a little too liberally. From then on, whenever he felt he was not getting the respect he deserved, or simply when he didn't feel like working, he would take a day off. If a colleague annoyed him, he'd call in sick. If he wanted a long weekend, he'd vanish on a Friday. And sure enough, the next day, he would find the situation had turned in his favor. People would welcome him back like a hero. He felt powerful. He felt in control. This pattern went on for several months. Elias thought he had hacked the system. He believed he was teaching them a lesson in gratitude every time he disappeared. One brisk Monday morning, Elias walked up to the factory gates whistling a tune. He had taken the previous Thursday and Friday off to remind them of his value again. He swiped his badge, but the light turned red. He tried again. Red. The security guard, a man he had known for years, walked out with a solemn face. "I'm sorry, Elias," he said. "I can't let you in." Elias was confused. "What do you mean? I work here. I'm the chief technician." The guard handed him a box of his personal belongings. "Not anymore. You've been let go." Elias was paralyzed with shock. He learned that he no longer had a job. He could not believe it. Hurt, confused, and filled with a burning sense of injustice, he rushed back to his old mentor's house. He burst onto Thomas's porch, his face red with anger and tears. With a voice full of wounded pride, he shouted, "Why did I lose my job? I did exactly what you said. Didn't I work according to your advice? I made them miss me. I made them realize my value, and now they've fired me." The elder sat calmly, pouring 2 cups of tea. He shook his head slowly and said, "Actually, Elias, you learned only half the lesson, not the whole. You understood the first part well, that if a lamp always stays on, no one notices its importance. People realize its value only when it suddenly goes out. Then they realize they had been ignoring it. But you were in such a hurry to use that power that you didn't listen to the second part." Elias froze. "The second part? You never told me there was a second part." The wise craftsman took a sip of tea and looked deeply into Elias's eyes. "I was going to, but you ran off to apply the first part before I could finish. The second part is even more important than the first. If a lamp keeps going out again and again, flickering unpredictably, plunging the room into darkness whenever it pleases, sooner or later, people stop missing the light and start hating the darkness. They realize the lamp is broken, and eventually it will be replaced with a better one. Because who would want a lamp they can't rely on?" Elias sat there, the realization washing over him like cold water. He had mistaken unreliability for value. He realized that while scarcity creates value, instability destroys trust. Look in our lives too. This isn't just about work. Think about our family or friends. We often take them for granted because they are always there for us, like that steady lamp. But sometimes we might be the ones playing games, withdrawing our affection or presence to punish them, to make them miss us. We think we are teaching them a lesson, but we might just be teaching them that we are not dependable. If we vanish too often, eventually people learn to live without us. They learn to find light elsewhere. So what is the answer? Is it to burn yourself out, unnoticed? No. Is it to disappear constantly to prove a point? No. The answer is balance. Be grateful to those who support you today. Don't let yourself be taken for granted. Yes, stand up for your worth. Communicate your value, but do not use your absence as a weapon. Don't let yourself be ignored by others, but don't become a source of darkness in their lives either. Keep doing your work with excellence. Maintain a balance in everything, in your availability, in your boundaries, and in your dedication. Then you'll see life will also reward you with balance. You will be the lamp that shines brightly, the one everyone cherishes, not because you might go out, but because you light up the room.